Unique creatures can really make your fantasy world stand out to readers. Today I'm talking about details you might want to consider when you're creating them. The purpose of this video series is to provide a jumping off point for beginner fantasy world builders, and to give ideas on how your world building can affect your stories. This is geared towards writers, especially novelists like myself. First, I'll talk about how I kind of have categorized different creatures and the roles that they can play in your fantasy society. This is all going to be about non-sentient creatures, but I will talk a little bit about the gray areas later on. First, you have mythical. These are creatures that the population in general believes to be completely fictitious. Again, this is from the character's perspective, not the writers or the readers. So if unicorns are a real, normal animal in this world, they would not be in this category. Next, you have biblical. These are animals that are considered sacred because of some kind of religious belief in your world. This one is more of a subcategory though, because any animal could fit into this category and another. Number 3 is extinct. Just like our dinosaurs, there might be creatures in your world that the people knew existed at one point, but are believed to have or even proven to have died out at some point. Next is working animals. These are going to be any kind of domesticated animal that the people in your world use for labor, like horses, oxen, or herding dogs. Next, you have agricultural, which is going to be any animal raised for producing resources. Next, you have prey. These are going to be creatures that exist in the wild, and the people of your world hunt for resources, whether that be their pelts or maybe their blood has some kind of magical healing power. Number 7 is going to be predators, which are going to be whatever animals are competition towards the humans or your world equivalent for prey animals. And these are probably dangerous for your characters to encounter themselves as well. Next is going to be pets. This can be any animal that is kept as a hunting partner or a companion animal or anything like that. Again, something like a horse or a herding dog could fit into both the working category and this category. Number 9 is what I'm going to call pedestrian animals. These are going to be things that are seen as mostly useless but also not harmful, and animals that have little to no interaction with the human characters. So this would be like, robins, small lizards, beetles, stuff like that. Last one is number 10, which is pests. These are just going to be any animals that cause damage to property, like mice, rats, groundhogs, etc. Of course, many animals will fit into more than one of these categories, but that's just a basic idea of how your characters might interact with these animals. Okay, so now we'll talk about non-animals, which is the gray area. Creatures that don't quite fit as a character or a humanoid, but they're also not an animal exactly either. So you might have spirits, which could be some kind of spirit, ghost, god, shadow demon, or otherworldly being that might take some kind of form in this world that you've created. They might take the form of a creature or an animal, or that might be their natural form. These can be portrayed as phantoms or as living creatures, but whatever it is, they're very different from whatever exists normally in your world, and they might even exist on another plane of reality entirely. You also might have sentient animals. As opposed to being just another race of sentient beings in your world, these would be special outliers of some kind. This might just be one abnormal individual or a small group with some kind of mutated gene. The only difference here is while there might be lots of bears out in your entire world that you've created, this one or these specific few are different or special for some reason. I really tried to not have a miscellaneous category in this video, but I just couldn't avoid it. I'm thinking these are things like the Minotaur or science experiments gone wrong. So maybe they are ancient beings, or they're a fragment of consciousness that got stuck inside some other creature. Alright, next we have appearance. Probably one of the funnest things to create about your fictional creatures is their appearance. It's always a good idea to keep in mind functionality. The pattern of a lizard's scales can hide it from predators. Hedgehogs that you're creating might have poison spines for some reason. Next, you can consider their strengths. What does this animal do best? Is it great at camouflage? Or maybe it is almost silent when it hunts its prey. Do any of its physical characteristics help it with its strengths? Alright, and next you have weaknesses. Do these creatures have any natural predators, and what do they do to deter or hide from them? Maybe they can't fly in the rain, or they have to remain in the shade because they're not very good at regulating their own temperature. Are any of their weaknesses able to be used against them by the people of your world to hunt or capture these creatures? Next you have its rarity. If it's a wild animal, how likely is one person to happen upon one in their day-to-day lives? If it's a domestic animal, do people keep them and breed them for profits? If it's rare, why is it rare? Is their food source hard to come by, or do they have really specific conditions for their living climate? History and evolution. Have there been changes in the way these creatures look over time? Have they had to adapt to any new environments? If they have any kind of relationship with the people of your world, when did this start? Are there domesticated versions of this animal? If so, how are they different from the wild varieties? Do these creatures really fear people, or maybe they're drawn towards their villages because of food sources? Next, you can consider their habits. Where do these animals come from? Do they migrate? If so, when, where, and why? Do they live in colonies or on their own? Do the parents take care of the young, and for how long do they do that? Lastly is dimorphism. These could be things like different color patterns, different sizes, or different calls. Maybe the combination of two different colors or patterns has a chance to produce a rare colored offspring. You could have differences in appearance be based on pocket populations, or you could have a difference in the way the young versus the mature of the species look. Obviously, you don't have to have all these details figured out. These are just ideas and details to help you fill out your world building and make the creatures really come to life. If you'd like to dive into the world of Alexia, you can check out Age of the Gods, which is a free short story I'll have linked down below. Alright, that's all I got for you, so thanks for watching. Bye!